Thanks for joining us in the garden. Today we are here with Jordan from Grange Co-op. We're talking about different types of fertilizer. I didn't know this many existed, honestly, and I'm sure that this is just a tiny fraction of what y'all have at Grange Co-op. So walk us through some of the differences when it comes to fertilizer, what the different numbers mean, and also just like with foods, there's organic ones, there's non-organic ones. So how do people know what they want for their garden?
Sure, and understandably, it can be a little overwhelming to look at a wall of fertilizer and go, I just want the one thing for my one plant that's not happy. First of all, don't stress about it. We can find the option. When it comes to your fertilizer and your nutrients, you can break them down into two families of naturally derived or organic and non-organic. Neither is better than the other. They have different principles, and one thing that works for one gardener might not work as well for the other, and vice versa. You mentioned the numbers, and as we talked about before, every fertilizer has an NPK, which stands for nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Those are the three numbers you see listed. So the first thing is finding the ratio you're after. If you don't want to deal with the numbers or the research, a lot of the fertilizers are labeled for what they cover. So you have your tomato veggie, you have your rose fertilizer, you have things for maples and rhodies and blueberries, what have you. Those blends work fine. Some gardeners are more particular about the recipe they want to come up with, so they might do their own balance. So a combination of blood meal and bone meal, for example, is going to give them something that has phosphorus, potassium, nitrogen, phosphorus, but no potassium. When it comes to those numbers, a lot of folks might notice that organic-based compounds are going to be more expensive and have lower numbers. They are more expensive because they're adhering to state regulations. That OMRI certification, a lot of folks see is a big difference between something that's organic and organic with a capital O that has gone through a third-party verification system and meets all the standards set by the state. So yeah, they're paying a little bit more for that testing and what have you. But for some gardeners, they want that assurance that what they got came from an organic source, usually a sustainable source. Following up on that is that the reason those numbers are sometimes lower in your organic options is because organic compounds take time to break down in the soil. By their nature, they are going to be slow release, as opposed to a non-organic blend that has to be encapsulated with something that will wear down over time.
Okay, for somebody who's like, I don't even know where to start, there's so many products up on this table, very overwhelmed, what's some of the information that they would need to bring in to you guys at Grange Co-op to kind of get a more tailored recipe for their garden?
The first thing I ask folks is when they last fertilized. A lot of folks don't consider fertilizing for things beyond their annuals and their vegetable garden. So when it comes to things like landscape trees and shrubs, there you go, we've had this house for X number of years and never touched it. It's like, cool, we have a base plate for, at least we need something there. The other thing would be what kind of plants they have, and maybe there are going to be some particular needs. If someone comes and asks me, oh, I have rhodies and azaleas that are struggling, well, I know they need an acid fertilizer. But on top of that, if they tell me they have blueberries and strawberries, I'm going to say, one and done. You don't need to have a different fertilizer for each individual thing if you're comfortable with that.
Okay, well, the good news is that there's options and products out there for pretty much everyone. So figure out what you want, go into Grange Co-op, you can get it for your garden. They'll help you pick out what you need as well, and you can head to our website for more information on fertilizers. We'll see you back here next time in the garden.